actually a founding member of our club? Can you guess? Maybe not. So, with speech, the other show, Paul Scivetti is here.
My friends, it actually has been a long time since I did a technical speech, and I was actually planning to do a technical speech. I thought I might do one on the E framework, which is a fabulous MVC framework for PHP. Or I thought I might actually do one on Hot Towel, which is Don Papa's framework for doing SPA applications, which is quite interesting in itself. But I have to tell you, the events of last week compel me to change my topic and talk about my experience with the ACA. Think back to 2009 or so. How was the ACA packaged up and vigorously sold to the American people? First off, there's the problem. 30 million people not only don't have insurance, they're being denied insurance, which has a very discriminatory kind of a tone to it. Right? If they chose not to have it, it can't happen. Some evil, malevolent forces are keeping them from insurance. And the number, by the way, started at 48, which is really, if you include 48 million people, if you include all the people who are here illegally, that's how you get 48. If you go to the people who are here, citizens that are here legally, you get 30 million. But either way, it's a lot of people. That's a problem. Americans say, hey, wait a minute, that's not right. Somebody's being denied access. That's bad. So there's sympathy. The next issue, and the next big thing, is the cost curve will bend down. The ACA is a solution to bend the cost curve down. Now, many of you know that healthcare costs have been rising very much above the rate of inflation. Healthcare costs and health insurance costs are not the same. They've been rising more rapidly than the rate of inflation. So when a politician in Washington said the cost is going to go down, you go, maybe. But let's say that they're being a little optimistic, and the cost will only go up less. I'll take that. If they flatten it out or just get it to go down, go up a little bit less quickly. So that sounds pretty good. And then the linchpin of the sale, the third leg of the third-legged stool, is if you like what you have, you can keep it. Period. Not, if you like what you have, you can keep it, comma, if I like it, the government needs it, okay, asterisk. Period. End of story. You can keep it. You do nothing, and you get to keep it. Now, when you look at this as a total package, if all those claims were true, that's actually not a bad deal. Right? 85% of people have health insurance. They like it. No problem. There's a feeling that everybody should have access to it. Nobody should be denied health care. And the cost is going to maybe go down. Will not go up as fast. All good things. Unfortunately, if you've been paying attention to the news since October 1, some of those statements are not quite true. In the individual market right now today, about 4 million people have been disgorged from their health plan. 4 million people. That is more than 10% of the 30 million that we're supposed to be trying to solve the problem for, right? 30 million with no insurance? Wow. That's a lot of people. And that number is going to go up. But right now, everybody's got their hair all on fire about the individual market. But if you listen to the talking heads, it's only the individual market. And I'm here to talk about not that. I'm here to talk about the next shoe to drop, which is to tell you it is small businesses that are going to be the next ones to get screwed over. How do I know this? I'm talking to my insurance broker in August. So I'm like, hey, you know, there's a possibility of early renewal. Yeah, quickly. I have a small company. We're a micro company, actually. We have 2 employees, my wife and myself. We have a group plan with 2 policies, 2 adult individual policies. We don't have kids, 2 individual adult policies. Our broker says, hey, guess what? Your plan is not going to be compliant from April when we do. Right? But there's a possibility that you can early renew. More. Sure. Well, as long as you renew by December, you can keep what you have for another 11 months. Great. Give me the information. Finally, last week, he's back with the information. Hey, Melinda, what's this going to cost? 7% increase. That's not too bad. Maybe more than I was expecting, but not too bad. Considering we don't really need it at all. So, what, in God's name, would the number be if we didn't early renew and we just waited until April? 42% increase. Really? Wow. Okay. What do we get for the extra money? Well, not much. There's a couple of brand name drugs that get covered that are not covered now. And you get pediatric dental. Oh boy. That means a lot to me. Great. Sign me up. And then after proceeding to have a conversation, we did our early enrollment. Guess what? At 42%, that actually is not too bad. It's the first benefit of being a seasoned citizen. Okay? A little older, both my wife and I have a 5 in front of our age. If you have a company where you have younger people, 2s and 3s in front of their age, their rates are going up 60 to 70%. That's the next shoe to drop. Watch for this in the individual market. Rather, not the individual market, the small business market. Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of a call to action here at the end of this meeting. First is check your personal situation. If you are doing self-insurance or your insurance, check to see if you have an option to early renew, to extend for another 11 months or so. But you have to do that. That's time sensitive. You have to do it by December 31st. It's January 1, not an option. That's one. The second thing is, if you're not someone who normally pays attention to what goes on inside the beltway, pay attention. This is a consequential time. The foxes are guarding the henhouse, and they're eating the chickens. The CBO, which is a nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, did an analysis that said in 2020, when Obamacare is fully implemented, how many people do you think are going to be uninsured? Anybody have a guess? 30 million. That number sound familiar? That's what we have at the beginning, to start. That is ridiculous. So we have people who are not really paying attention, who are good, and we're not paying attention to them. Guess what? They're eating the chickens. And the final thing, I'm going to give you a little bit of a clue on the next shoe to drop. Progressives in this country, as a philosophy, they have been working on single payer, which is a euphemism for government-funded healthcare, universal government healthcare. They've been working on that for 100 years. Early 1900s. Victory is at hand. If you were going to try to go, and our president is actually on record as saying Obamacare is a stepping stone to single payer. In order to get to single payer, you have to collapse the system first. If you were going to try to collapse our healthcare system, you could think of a better way to do it than to foment a crisis and then have to come in and step up and say, even greedy insurance companies are just screwing us over. We have to do this. We have to have government step in and save the day. I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy, but just be mindful and listen carefully. Use those postmaster skills of listening. Pick apart people's words and watch for that, because that might be coming. And I am really concerned about it. These guys are not as warm and fuzzy as one might actually think. And if our organizing chief has his way, we're going to bring up